Hi there. This is today's episode or version or talk on the road to 50 million. I had some neat experiences today, and I do this every day to talk about this road to 50 million. And there's a bunch of reasons. The first is it helps me stay accountable to move every day toward 50 million. Now, those of you that don't know what 50 million is, I declared on October 14th, which is about 6 or 7 weeks ago, that this year my commitment was to reach 50 million people and to encourage each one to discover and to serve with their divine gifts, with your divine gifts. Let's talk to you. I'm only talking to one person, right? One at a time, and maybe many if many listen to a message. But that's the declaration. And as I thought about how to do this, we have the ability with internet and broadcast platforms to do things that we never could have imagined just a little bit ago. And so I thought, how can I do this? How can I do this thing of reaching 50 million people? Well, one is to have a podcast, and I got the opportunity to interview a fabulous guest today. The episode won't be out till January, but the conversation was really rewarding, edifying for both of us. This particular person was a lover of entrepreneurs, someone who helps people understand their business and grow their business. And a particular thing that I learned in this episode was when you start a business, you do everything. You wear all the hats and you work really, really hard. You bust your butt to get from, just starting at zero over here to some goal, 0 to 1. And you wear all the hats and you work your head off and do it. And then there comes a place in time when you are limited. Like if things depend on you, then you can't grow anymore. If any part really depends on you, you become the limiting factor. So then you get the question of how to, number one, do you want to grow? Do you want to grow your impact or your business bigger than where it is? And if you do, then you got to figure out how to delegate, how to trust, and how to share and spread the responsibility. And I was just listening to an interesting Alan Watts video on YouTube that talked about this natural order of trust. Think about the body. The brain doesn't do all the activities that take place in all the cells. It delegates all through the body, and the systems of the earth, the universe, they all work the same. So let's get right back down to business. If you want to grow your business past a certain place, then you have to find systems to automate. You have to find people where you can delegate, right? And that is a powerful principle. In our personal lives, one way to do that is called habits. Like, depending on studies you read, anywhere between 80 and 95% of what we do every day is driven by habit. Well, habits are really delegated repetitive patterns. Like you don't think about walking, you don't think about digesting, you don't think about a lot of things. And that's good if your habits are moving forward. That's like finding an employee or a team that is aligned with your vision and really moving forward. If, on the other hand, your habits are not productive, if they're full of excuses and blaming, well, then that's like a team at work that doesn't work productively with a lot of infighting and struggle. So today's conversation is about mediocrity, and that is about a choice, whether or not you or I choose to stay with what's easy and obvious. Now, there's a statement in my PTAC. It's part of the document I call the North Star, my North Star, right? And it says in I'm the ultimate catalyst for personal transformation. That's how it starts. But it says, in a practical way, I provide energy, example, encouragement, and permission to those ending addiction to mediocrity. Now, I want you to look in your life. Maybe there's nowhere where you're just letting things slide and you're really committed to excellence, to growth. And that means not just working yourself to death, because that's not productive or fun, but it means training your habits and practices so that they work for you, because habits, They are great servants, but they're terrible masters. And anyone who's had a bad habit that they have had to, if you've had a bad habit, you've had to change, you know exactly what that means. So our nature is to be the best we can be. We're built to do that. We're built to, like our body repairs itself. Why? So it can function. It can be back to the best it can be. And that's the way that the body works. It's the way that the brain works. It wants to repair itself and grow. So our natural connection, our natural inclination is to do better and be better. And at the same time, there are so many places where we settle for what's easy and obvious. Sometimes we call it lazy, sometimes we call it being uninformed, sometimes we quote don't know better, etc. But it doesn't change the yearning that we have to do good, to add good to the world, to serve. The podcast that I just interviewed for, this individual is a powerful force for adding good to the world, helping entrepreneurs systematize and create systems and processes where they can get past the limit that we hit when we've done all we can do in our business. Now, business isn't the only place that happens. It's personal development too. There are ways we can create habits that leverage growth. Let me give you an example. I love to play the piano, and I always want to get better and be able to play more songs and be able to play them well. And I like jazz and improvisation and stuff like that. If I had to think about or invent the same tools over and over again, I wouldn't be able to advance to more exciting levels of performance. By creating habits and patterns and relationships in the musical process, I can do some things without thinking. That frees up the thinking or feeling or creative mind to move into other areas faster and better. And that's again by creating good habits. So today I'm issuing an invitation. And the invitation is for you to look in your life, your personal life, how much you take care of yourself, the time and attention you put on those you love around you, and and then your business, your work. Maybe you have a job, maybe you have your own business. Where are you settling for the easy and obvious? Where are you settling at all? Because you and I both know the feeling of settling, where that's good enough. Well, it may or may not be, but it doesn't feel good, right? Because we are built to grow. We grow as a little kid, we grow up, our bodies grow up. And when our bodies stop growing, our minds can continue to expand and learn. And when they do, it is enhanced by that neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire itself. But that only takes place when we increase and improve the inputs. So here's at least my recipe for not settling and not living in a state of the obvious and easy. Number one, I get up every single day with a commitment to do a little bit better today, to be a little better. Now, better is a pretty amorphous word. So I have 4 areas: spiritual area, physical, emotional, and mental, which includes all my relationships and learning and everything else. And I commit to improve just 1%. And if I'm lucky, I get 1% in more than one area in a day. And like this beautiful phoenix behind me, rising from the ashes of little mistakes or big mistakes, and allowing the lessons of the past to teach me to avoid this or to repeat that, to change this or to strengthen that. That set of choices can be also systematized. So if I go back to the piano, if I'm playing a song like this, I'm recording this on, what's this today? Friday. Sunday night, I've got to play in a program. And I've got to play some songs, and I am still working on the arrangements I want to use and everything else. If I don't make habits out of certain parts of that, and I have to think about every single piece when I play it, it won't be very good. And I'll likely make mistakes or at least do things that were not as good as I wanted. On the other hand, if I intentionally improve a little at a time and create the habits necessary to do that, that frees up my mind so I can be creative on the spot. Now, that's kind of amorphous, but it applies to everything that you do. If you and I intentionally choose to get 1% better in any area, that stacks very, very quickly. And you get out of mediocrity. You get out of the habit of settling for what's easy and obvious. Now, sometimes we settle for the easy and obvious because we think that's all we deserve, or that's the best we can do, or we don't care. But that's not true. In our hearts, we yearn for excellence. In our hearts, we yearn for success. In our hearts, we yearn to love and to serve those around us. And it's only the stories of failure and embarrassment and struggle that drive us to settle for the obvious and easy, what I'm calling mediocrity. So this is an invitation. December just started. December just started yesterday. And I'm inviting you with all my heart to choose to get 1% better each day. You can pick the area, 1% kinder, 1% more thoughtful, 1% more fit, doing more things to take care of your body or take care of your heart. Just think, 1% over the space of a year, you'd be 3 times better, 365 1%, right? 1% isn't very much, but it does take a commitment not to settle for mediocrity, the easy and obvious. So I'm inviting you to join me because this road to 50 million for me is a goal for this year. I'm committed to reach you and 50 million of you and encourage you to find your divine gifts, to serve with them and live in a place of love and service. Because living in love and service is anything but mediocrity. We have to put ourselves out there. I encourage you to share your heart, your message, your love, your service with no excuses and no holding back. Why would you or I be anything less than all we can be? Why would we settle for the easy and obvious? Why would we give in to the story that somehow we're not worth it or we're not good enough? You deserve the best. You deserve all there is, and we together can move forward. Now, here's my 3 invitations I always do. My road to 50 million is long. It's going to be my whole year. It started 6 weeks ago. If you can help me get to my 50 million, I'd like to talk to you. However small that help is, you might want to offer. If you want my help, I'd love to talk to you. There's something I can do to encourage or serve you so you can discover and serve with your divine gifts. I'd love to hear from you so we can talk. The third invitation is maybe you are already living this moment, that life of purpose, prosperity, and joy, where every day is a joy, you love it, and you're doing exactly what you want. I'd love to hear from you then too, because I love to know and surround myself with those who are adding good to the world on purpose, that are making a choice to not live in mediocrity, but live in growth and expansion and adding good to the world. I invite you to join me with all my heart. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for the good that you do and for everything that you do to be a source of light in the world. Join me on my road to 50 million.